This is a short demonstration of the eBilling Assistant software. The video is a screen capture of actual use for one of our programs in real time over a DSL internet connection. When the program is opened, it automatically displays the eBilling homepage for whatever regional center you've listed as your default. Enter your username and password. Because of the way the eBilling website runs, you must use the Assistant's login button instead of the web page launch application button. Once you log in, the eBilling web page acts exactly as you're used to. You accept the terms of use, select the service you want to work on, select the invoice and open it for editing exactly as you do now. You'll notice the loading message. This is dependent on your internet connection and the traffic on the eBilling server and not the eBilling Assistant software. As you'll see, web page loading varies even within a single session. Because this is real program data, confidential information has been covered. In use, this information is fully visible. As usual, click on the first name in the invoice to bring up that person's calendar. You can view the entire web page by scrolling up or down or by resizing the eBilling Assistant window. Let's go ahead and select a data file by clicking on the Browse button. A standard file selection window will open and you can pick your file. Check the program documentation for more information about allowable formats and data layouts. The file doesn't have to be local. In this case, I'm picking a file from our internal network. Before we get to the fun part though, let's take a quick look at the Set Defaults page. You can enter and save information about each of the regional centers you work with and one or more templates describing your data source files. You only have to enter the information for any template once and the application will store it for later use. Any template can be edited if your data file structure changes. For CSV files, you also need to enter information about the field types, but this is very simple and described in the documentation. Let's go back to the calendar entry page. First, I'll choose the correct template. I can choose just to update the current calendar or update and move to the next record. The copy button reflects that this is a single person operation. Or I can select Copy All to cycle through every record. When clicked now, the application will cycle through the file as quickly as the internet will allow. You should only use this if you're sure your file is set up exactly like the invoice. The time between the appearance of each calendar page and the loading message is how long it takes the eBilling Assistant to fill in the information for that person for the entire month. You'll see that as each person's information is entered, the file panel at the top indicates the processed and current records. If your data file includes an authorized units column, the application will check the total units in the file against that number. If you've exceeded the authorized total, you can either allow the program to reduce the units on the calendar, starting from the last day of the month and working backwards until the total equals the maximum authorized, defer billing for this person, which will mark the defer box on the web page, or drop out of the loop and adjust the daily amounts manually. I know we went over on this person and the service coordinator isn't going to change the POS, so I'm just going to bill for what we can and move on. Remember, all the correction calculations and entry into the calendar happened between the time I clicked yes and the appearance of the loading message. The rest of the weight is entirely on the current internet connection speed. This continues until the end of the file is reached, so I'm going to edit a bit and skip ahead to one other thing that you might see during a copy all run. This is a message from the web page about a script error. It is not an error from the eBilling Assistant software, although it may be due at least in part to the speed with which the application is pushing the data. So that the web page scripts will continue to function, we'll click Yes. When the web page throws this or any other error, the eBilling Assistant will drop out of the loop so that you can go back and check to see if there really is a problem. Because of the nature of this process, it usually takes one more cycle than the one that actually threw the error, so you would go back one record and check the data against what is on the calendar, make sure that the current person in the file pane and the web page match, and if everything checks out, continue where you left off. I'm just going to move on since this is a demo and I know that my accounting department is going to run the file and check it again anyway. Note that the copy all process can be started again from any record in the file. Also, if you discover multiple errors in your data file, you can run the entire data file again and it will simply overwrite whatever was previously entered. Once the data entry is complete, you can go back and check the totals for each person. Just as a note, there are some people here with 0 total hours. When that happens, the eBilling Assistant automatically checks the No Units box on the calendar page. None of the calendar entries are finalized until, just as you do now, you click the Submit button on the eBilling web page. Thank you for watching.